Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, I want to update you guys on the two option swing trades that I'm currently holding in my long-term portfolio. One of them doing very well, which is Apple April 180 calls, and my Microsofts have been lagging just a little bit. I want to talk through the updated technicals on these charts. I also want to show you guys another stock that I am definitely tempted to get a swing trade on, but have a little bit of indecision on because of the current market conditions. Now, talking about market conditions, we will also touch on the topic of swing trading in general right now, why I really don't like it as of right now. The market is still very choppy and very indecisive. Is it smart to be putting on very large and very, questionable swing trades? I don't believe so, but there are a few core positions that I really do like, and that is why I'm in Apple and I am in Microsoft. We'll talk through my swings. We'll talk about swings in general. So if you're someone that likes swing trading, this video will definitely give you a mindset on what I'm thinking right now, and we can just go ahead and talk about the market as well. So if you guys enjoy the video after watching, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, press the bell down below so that you guys know every single time that I post. All right, guys, so before we jump into Apple and we jump into Microsoft, as well as the third stock that I am watching for potential swing trade entry, I want to talk a little bit about swing trading in general and how difficult it has been in this market. Now, looking at your charts, you're going to be looking at the NASDAQ hourly chart. And you can see over the last 4 days, it sort of tells you why swing trading is very difficult right now. Very indecisive, very choppy, very sideways. Do you, trust the market to trend in either direction right now, which is what you really want if you are a swing trader. You want to see a trend. You want to see us starting to move higher over consecutive days, hold higher lows, make higher highs. That is the key, and that is the, the sweet spot to start putting on swing trades that you can trust over an extended period of time. But when you see 4 days like this on the NASDAQ, that indecision really starts to settle in for you as a trader as well as for the market as a whole. So I don't think anyone here can answer whether the market goes through this 14.8 on the NASDAQ or if we come back down and test this 14.5 or 14.350. It's very unknown, and that unknown is what makes it very difficult to trust swing trades right now. Now, on the flip side, if you're someone that does believe that this market does hold here and maybe starts to push higher, you can take your small shots with some small risk on some longer dated options. And that's sort of what I have done here on Apple and Microsoft. I had a set amount of risk that I was willing to take, and I wanted to go ahead and leverage myself with some option contracts. Instead of just buying the shares, which I already have plenty of, I was going to buy the shares, but if you didn't watch my video, I did go ahead and decide to take some April call options on both Apple and Microsoft. Still, very, questionable. Not sure it's going to work out. There's not a day that I am that comfortable with these positions, but as of right now, there are reasons to continue to hold, reasons on the NASDAQ and reasons on those individual stocks, and that's what I want to go ahead and talk through today. So before we get into the plays, just talking about the swing trading market as a whole, very difficult right now, very indecisive, not sure the next direction, and that is what a lot of people are dealing with right now. That is why most of my trades lately have been short-term plays, little scalps here and there, trying to take what I can in this market because I'm just not quite sure what the next 5 minutes, what's the next 10 minutes, what's the next hour going to look like. It's very difficult to know. And I'll go ahead and give you guys an example in this video when we talk about the third stock of a trade that I took where I went ahead and I exited. It was supposed to be a swing trade, and I exited about an hour later because of the indecisive actions that I have been seeing. So let's go ahead and talk about Apple. We'll go ahead and pull up the chart, and we'll talk about what I'm currently seeing on this stock. This stock I am quite bullish on still, even with the indecisive moves that we have seen on the NASDAQ. So pulling up the daily chart on Apple right here, you guys are going to see that we have pushed up pretty nicely. We are only just about 4% off the highs. As of right now, I am holding an Apple April 180 call. I'll go ahead and pop up the P&L on your screen. Today was a very nice day for that play. Very nice still in general, still very profitable on it, but I'm still very questionable, whether this play will work out. It's very tough to decide if this NASDAQ is actually going to push higher here because of the sideways action that we have been seeing. But as of right now, I continue to hold Apple because of what I've been seeing on its chart in general and because of the outperformance that we have been seeing here on this stock. So I'm eyeing two levels. The first level is here at 168. Very interested in this 168. I love how we went ahead and double bottomed off this level, and we went ahead and we pushed back higher. The next level that I am concerned about is right here around this 177. We can see we had previous resistance off this level, and if Apple pushes back into that level, is this somewhere where I should be taking profits, or am I letting this run up a little bit further? That is going to be dependent on what the Nasdaq's next move is, which can be very questionable. Thursday could change it with CPI data. The next week, maybe something else causes downside. We don't quite know, and the indecisiveness is what's making it very difficult to trust any trades over an extended period of time. But I am in Apple. I currently am liking it still. We can see a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on the daily chart, left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder here. And we are also looking at Apple holding the 50 SMA, which is that yellow line right there. Now, if I zoom into the 4-hour here on Apple, you can definitely say, hey, this looks pretty bullish, right? A little bit of a flag breakout, nice little daily candle, a nice big green candle breakout today on the 4-hour chart, a nice little hold here around this 172. But do we really know if Apple's going to continue here? And that's sort of what I'm talking about the swing trading market. Yes, it looks good, and maybe you want to get into a trade here on Apple because you believe it goes higher. But do you really think, do you trust it to break through this 177? And do you trust the Nasdaq to actually continue trend tomorrow? And if it doesn't, Apple's going to go ahead and come right back down to where it started. So it's difficult. It's not easy right now. The market is not really generous towards people looking for a longer term trend. I am happy where I did get in Apple, and that's why I'm still green on this. But, getting in here, seeing if Apple can push through this 177, yeah, it might look good today, and we might see a nice little breakout, but the market just is so questionable right now, and I'm not quite sure if you can continue to trust this thing up into 177. We'll see what happens. I'm willing to take the risk, and I think that is the most important thing right now. Getting into trades that you are accepting of the risk, whether it works out or whether it doesn't, you are okay with what you're putting on your portfolio. Not putting on trades that are going to wreck your portfolio. That is the worst thing you can do right now because of how indecisive this market can be. So we can see Apple looks good. In my opinion, I think this looks like a great chart. I think it looks like a nice hold over the last few days, starting to break out here, maybe a push back into the 176s. But I just know in the back of my mind, when I look at the Nasdaq chart and I look at the trend that it has been on, I just don't quite know for certainty whether we are going to get this push to the upside or if we're going to get the breakdown once again. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me not taking large positions in this market. But that is an update on my Apple contract. Why I'm still holding it, because I like the Apple technicals in general. If I go to the daily chart, that's really what I like. I like us holding here. I want to see if I can play this upside. I think Apple is an outperformer, and I like that we are starting to get this push. So that's Apple. That's a little bit about my mindset and the indecision that I have been having. The second one is Microsoft. Now, Microsoft has been lagging quite a bit. We got in Microsoft back on this dip, and we are down quite a bit on this one, right? We're down almost 40%, I believe. I'll go ahead and pop up the P&L for you guys to see, but with plenty of time left on this option contract. So at this moment, what's the right move? Do I get out of this? Do I take my loss? Or do I continue to see if this can hold up? The market's doing just enough to keep me in this play, right? The market and the stock in general is doing just enough to keep me in this play. So it is very difficult to judge whether I should be getting out of this or to judge whether I should continue to hold. I've been eyeing this 300 level, and we held it once again today. You guys can see right here, over the last 4 days, we have been holding this 300 level. So Microsoft, it's doing just enough to keep me bullish on this position, but it's not doing enough to make me money on the position. So at this point, it's very difficult to manage this swing trade because I don't quite know if we are going to hold up or if we're going to break down, as I've already noted many times, as the Nasdaq goes completely sideways. So is it wise of me to be in this position? Maybe, maybe not. Am I potentially going to catch a push, above this 14.8 on the Nasdaq? Potentially. Am I going to get stuck in a breakdown? That is potential as well. but it's doing just enough to keep me in the position right now, and that is my current standing on Microsoft. So 300 has been sort of my key level to see if it holds. It did it again today. And then to the upside, the resistance that I am watching is here at 305. So 305 is the highs of these candles from back in August, and we can see that has been the resistance that has kept this thing down. So Microsoft is right around a 5-point range right now. I'm holding it because of the 300 support, and I'm watching the 305 resistance that continues to come in here. It rejected it once again today. You guys can see right here, that is where we stalled out, right around 305. But I have to continue to hold it, in my opinion, because I see the hold that's coming in, and as I said already, it's just doing just enough to keep me in the position. If it starts to break down below 300, then I know it's not a good trade, but it's not showing me that because of the choppy and indecisive market that we have been in. So the third trade that I have really wanted to get into, but that indecisiveness is just coming in really hard, is on Nvidia. I have been watching this Nvidia hourly chart for about a week now, and I have been noticing that it is starting to hold this retest level, right? Previous resistance has turned into support beautifully here at $240 a share. Now, what I've been trying to ask myself and trying to question is, do I believe the NASDAQ pushes through this top range resistance? If it does, then I think Nvidia does as well. I think Nvidia pushes through 260 and moves higher. But that is a question that I have not been able to answer myself, and that is why I haven't been able to get enough confirmation to get into this Nvidia swing trade. But if I look at the technicals and if I don't remember what the market's doing, if I was just in a bullish, normal market that we have seen in the past, I would be in this trade already. I would have already taken this trade off this 240 retest. I would be looking for that upside, and I would be looking to see if I can get that trend back towards 260. But the current market conditions is what's keeping me out of this trade right now. Now, if anything changes, if we start to see some bullishness into end of week, into next week, I would definitely keep an eye on Nvidia here. I really like this 240 hold, and I think this could be a fantastic opportunity if we go to the daily chart for a push back into 260 and maybe even further after a very large drop and a pretty decent hold here at 240. We can see it on the 4-hour chart as well. Here's the 4-hour chart, and you guys can see this thing's been holding pretty nicely, but I'm just not quite confident enough, and I don't have that confirmation yet on the overall market to get into this trade. So that sort of breaks down, guys, some of the indecisiveness I have been having and some of the questions that a lot of you guys probably are having on this market right now. Are we going to get a push? Are we just going to trade sideways? Can I get into a swing trade to either the upside or the downside? That is a very hard question to answer right now. And I think the best thing you can do is either save your capital or put on small risk, something that you are willing to lose if you like a certain setup. Nvidia is a trade that I definitely am wanting to take. Not quite ready for that confirmation. Apple and Microsoft were risks that I was willing to take and were charts that I did like at the time. I got myself time on the contracts out to April just in case this market sort of chops around. I was sort of anticipating us to have a slow move back to the upside. So we'll see what happens, guys. But I hope you enjoy this video. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia updates. Update on the swing trading market in general, how difficult it has been to get that decisiveness, to get that confirmation for any upside in this market. We have to stay patient. We have to wait for the move to actually happen. That is the key, I believe, in this market. Waiting for that confirmation, waiting for the move to actually start happening and trying to jump on it. I believe anticipating right now in this market for longer term trends can get you very beat up because it might look good today, but it definitely can look very bad tomorrow. That is what we're dealing with, and that is what we have to be careful of. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, press that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.